I hope that the sound of my voice reaches you in good spirits. I hope that though the day has yet to really begin, that yours gets off to a good start. That there's less stress in your life today than what you experienced yesterday. I hope that there's less pain in your life this year than there was last year. I hope that you take the time today to think about the things that are most precious to you, you know, to not sweat the small things. Don't take anything for granted. I hope that you try to be present in the moment and just enjoy the day for what it is. But with that being said, I should have clipped my nails today. So, to break up the monotony, you know. The reason why I started the video off like that is I genuinely wish that so many more people around the world in their hearts felt those things that I just said about other people. You know, like people that I've never even met, or people that I have met that I know that are still strangers. You know, because I believe the world could benefit a great deal from a perspective like that for not for show, for genuinely having feelings for other people, caring for other people, you know. Because a lot of times, even in talking with people, you know, it seems like a lot of people have to have a vested interest in you to care about you. They have to have some skin in the game, you know. And I understand it. Like, because I'm not perfect, I understand, you know, looking at the world or interacting with the world the majority of the time for your own gain, for what you can get out of it. How can things benefit you? And on its face, in the small scale, I don't think that's a negative. But people don't do it like a survival mechanism. They do it in the sense of at the expense of others as frequently as possible, you know. The reasons why these things cross my mind and I feel like I want to talk about them is just because I don't know about you, but as a young person, maybe not a very small child, but at some point in time, shortly after that, I guess, when you're young, you're naive. And looking back in hindsight, I feel like I believed that, at the time, I believed that the world was a better place, that it would get better. And I don't think that the world itself is a net negative. I just think it's not easy to get a perspective on things that are positive when a lot of the current is negative. Whether it's your friends or your family or the neighborhood you grew up in or the city you were born and raised in, et cetera, et cetera. The schools you went to, you know, the type of elders or peers that had influence on you, you know. And speaking of those things, some of those finer aspects are not TJ's story solely, you know? I think if you've ever had troubled times in your life, that if you're blessed to get through it, to learn from it, to grow from it, that eventually what will happen to you is you'll get that chance to get the 30,000-foot view over not only you and your circumstances, but starting with your immediate sphere and radiating out from that, you know. And I guess as that young person, I would say like fifth or sixth grade, you know, not understanding some things about how not the world but people in the world operate, you know. Like some of the first times I realized that other people's home environment wasn't the same as mine, or the things in their life were different from mine in the respect of their opportunities, their support system, things like that, you know. And I recall those moments very vividly because those had to have been like some of the first times as a young person when you get past the stage of cartoons and whatever else you do, and you have those feelings of empathy for others um, who may be going through something, you know. And decades later, I think it's a unique feeling because not unique to me, but unique in the sense of it's a special thing to come full circle when you have balance, you know. And because I figured like sharing toys, my games. When I would get a new pair of shoes, somebody else didn't have some, help. You know, if I got more than one fly piece of clothing that maybe it's something that I don't wear, but I know one of my homeboys would like to have something like that. And instead of letting it gather mothballs, do something with it, you know? And although those are just examples of a singular thing, you know, um, the the overall lesson from things like that, you know, helped me realize that if I didn't want to see, you know, my friend feeling upset or feeling sad because other people are making fun of his shoes, then instead of me just having that negative emotion, even if I wanted the pair of shoes, like it would do so many different things for me to just give it, you know, because those shoes were almost new. Instantly, you know, he didn't have to be cracked on by everybody around him because he had cheap shoes that were raggedy, you know. Um, that story came to mind just because I feel that same way every time I see someone that doesn't have a roof over their head, or if you don't physically interact with someone, um, say you may see a news report or something, or people that don't have enough food to eat, you know, those are the kind of things that I feel like if I could pick up on caring and empathy and try to do something, you know, so early on that like it still boggles my mind that the world, not as a whole, but as a majority, can't be that way, you know? Just like any other problem in life, you know, not as an individual, but as a human family. Just like any other problem, um, I don't, I don't see why it's not more prevalent for people to come together and heal those things, man. I know like a person like me can't fix world hunger, can't fix homelessness in America. But even someone like me who doesn't have a outrageous set of means, doing what you can and even in small doses can make a difference. And you know, I tend to lean on these things simply because it does me no good to observe these vast chasms between human beings of wealth, opportunity, justice, and equality. All these different words that make up this mosaic. Like it sometimes I look at it from our country because that's where we are. That's where I am. Sometimes I ponder it on a global scale. Because at some point in human history, there had to be a time on Earth where it wasn't chaos, where it wasn't just everyone out for themselves, like at the expense of everyone else. 'Cause for the life of me, I can't see how the world don't figure out that humanity can't progress like that. You know, it's the same kind of stuff. Almost cursed. It's the same kind of stuff that I saw as an adolescent in my neighborhood, where if you're doing good, your closest people, your closest friends and stuff like that, they'll support you and be happy for you if you're lucky. But then there's a large segment outside of that that maybe wants to take it from you. If they ain't brave enough to try to take it from you, they secretly sit back and throw darts or try to do stuff behind your back to take your shine, stuff like that, man. Like, and I don't really think that there's that much separation in that mentality from people on high than the little man, you know? Because I think regardless of those things um, that are superficial that society chooses to separate us by, despite those things, you know, it, every human being begins and ends the same way, you know? And I feel like the only things that are of utmost importance is in between, you know? Because if I do things and live my life in the fashion of some of these things that I've spoken of, then that truly makes me no different than the things that than the types of personalities that I've talked about. When I was younger and I heard people say shit like, say stuff like, be the change you want to be, and et cetera, et cetera. And that shit used to go in one ear and out the other because I used to think it was bullshit. But it's not, man. I truly feel like, in my heart, if I knew I was extremely selfish, extremely vain, angry, violent, all these negative, toxic things, and that I can be in a place today within myself when the camera's off by myself and know those things are true about me, you know, in my heart. You know, like I feel like the rest of the world can do it too, man, because I don't think there's anything stopping the worst person in the world from trying to be the best person in the world. You know, what is it really?